Tammy, I have 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. First order of business, select board chair appointment. Do we have any nominations?
I'll nominate Josh Ross.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations?
Yeah, I guess we can read it.
Nominations been made and seconded. All those in favor? Actually, I can't call this vote, so I will kick that down to the vice chair for last year.
Okay, the motion has been made.
Mike,
Motion has been made to elect Joshua Goss as chairman of the select board for the Bakersfield fiscal year 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? So carried. Congratulations, Josh.
thank you, sir. We also need vice chair. Any nominations for vice chair?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to keep it as it is and have Lance as the vice chair of the board.
Is there a second? Todd seconds. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of Lance as vice chair signify by saying aye.
Yeah, aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, sir. All right, previous minutes. I will assume, with the exception of Todd, that everybody had the chance to look over the previous minutes. Was there any corrections or adjustments?
What do you do, my own? I will second that motion.
Motion's been made by Terry, seconded by John to accept the previous minutes as written. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Finances, we have the rundown here. Do you have any information you would like to share with us at this time also, Vera?
Subject recipient and report on. I talked to Matt, I need to go to the library, but other than that. I've got it sorted out, but I have a few things more we want.
The grant paper that you got from the state, have we got any movement on that? Any movement?
No, I said enough with Matt.
Okay, that was,
And then, yes,
okay,
that one, it's the subrecipient one, you have to report what you did, what you got, and how much you spent. The libraries get that portion, and you put that in, it was you.
yep, a while ago, yep. Yeah, all right.
It's.
Okay. That was the only one that,
It's just a.
is that, will that hold up our state?
It could cut funds if we were already supposed to be getting.
Okay, okay.
Any new grants it might have. So I want to get that into the kind of, I'll make sure I have the correct figures, so I wasn't here last year.
Right, yep.
I have no questions. Just want to say thank you, Bear.
Yes, thank you again for,
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Ever have any questions? If I can't guarantee I'll make it to, we do, was Maria coming the first meeting each month?
Just one more month, yeah.
yes,
I'll try my best. Found another commitment that I made, but I didn't have to do it tonight, so. If you have any questions, just let me know, email me, call me. If you see anything that you don't think is right, let me know.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to correct it. Or address it in whatever way.
Does the second meeting work better for you?
No, it's a Monday night commitment.
It's Monday
Last
night.
fall, But I didn't have to do it tonight, so.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay,
But I would make sure that he had to report as many questions. as he did.
yeah, gotcha.
I don't see anything. Does anybody else have any questions on finance?
See.
We just put a note down at the bottom of the road one, we asked about the reimbursement.
Right.
That was actually reimbursement from health insurance, that was the reimbursement. Broken a lot. It
Reimbursement.
was taken out and put it in some reimbursement.
Okay, so it was technically payroll. Right, it would
It
be,
came out of-
The 176, that one.
okay,
Yes, but I did put a note down at the bottom, so you know what it was.
okay,
Oh, yeah.
that's fine.
See, if you just want different, or this is okay, then that's fine, it's whatever you want, I don't know.
Yeah, no, personal preference, I like the way this looks. Because it helps us a lot in the next year when it comes to budgeting, you know, we can go through this, we can see exactly where we overspent or didn't budget enough and.
I'm at the point, hopefully, with QuickBooks now where that spreadsheet, when I do it, should match what QuickBooks says. Simply double check, because if I put something in wrong or code something wrong, I'll know and I can find it, and hopefully I will check it each month like I used to with Q3. Every month I used to print out a report, I would check everything, make sure I had it right, because I don't like down the road realizing that I got something wrong. So
And they're all kind of
so
gross.
it's nice to have a double check.
Mhm.
I'm all set with finances.
I'm good.
Thank you, Vera.
Thank you, Gary.
Todd, just the, you'll see that warrants and reports are down under board business. It gives everybody a chance to look at them, read over them. If they have any questions, we address it at the end. So I'll pass those down. That's been taken care of down here, so. Visitors, we have a couple in-house. Mr. Foot. Are you spectating or? Just spectating today. All right, well, welcome. Brenda?
I'm not your agenda.
Underneath the bottom, yep, perfect. Mac's always here, so we'll jump down the roads. I assume you're together, I'm sorry, yeah. Sorry, I get in trouble when I assume a lot. ARPA administrator.
Oh,
I don't like the way you're handing this to me.
Access.
Access per. The one that's already in,
Exactly, that's the one.
that's the one.
It's for any,
It's for Daniel O'Rourke, submitted through Edward Robdoy. Did they,
he's getting ready.
does it meet your specs? Is there,
he came down the shop, after done it, told him, don't put an 18 in, put a 12 or 15, because it's split from Andy's old drive jack. And you're not gonna have coverage. You put plastic in. I mean, I think I would have,
probably gone steel?
I would have with a little bit of coverage you got there.
Yep,
So what I would do on this is if you want to sign it, sign the first copy and the second copy where you usually do.
make the notes.
You can make a note, but also we won't do it till after they get the cement and all that for it in case they.
Crush the culvert.
All
right.
If they touch it. And
So,
it's
yeah, it's not,
It's,
yeah, and those trucks aren't light, so,
no,
Um,
and he was drawing on it today.
Is this the one you and I looked at there?
No.
this is the one across, right next to Andy DeLude's on the, on the south side.
We suggested he moved it a little bit and he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For game,
For Dan, O'Rourke.
Yeah, Daniel O'Rourke.
So that's-
Okay, so the first, so was there was no others that you wanted then, just if that, if plastic, do you want like, if plastic fails, replace with steel
Yeah.
on the second page?
Yeah, because that'll be the second one to sign off on. The first one is just signing off to do what he already done.
Directions, restrictions, conditions. Is everybody on the board? Okay with that suggestion?
Which was the suggestion? I apologize.
The suggestion is that if the plastic culvert that is in place now fails, that it's replaced with a steel due to low coverage.
Yeah, fine with that.
I mean, especially from a fire department standpoint, that'd be a safety issue with a tanker rolling across that.
kind of thought maybe he was gonna take out the trailer and use that access, but he's apparently gonna leave that trailer in the farmhouse. Yeah.
We'll wait off, we'll hold off on signing the second one until concrete's poured and, okay.
I mean, if it lives up to Stony's stuff in and now, and I agree with them. It'd be better.
Yeah, the new plastics, especially the gray, there,
This one appears to be fine.
it does. As I say, those, the gray ones are supposedly,
Yeah, better. High performance.
yeah. We put one in the woodlot up there and the power company said that they'll be able to roll those 60,000 pound
Too much to.
trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've only got like a foot of coverage. They said 24 inch. They said we'll roll right over that. Won't even phase it. Oh, hopefully. What else do we have on roads? Oh, he's got a list today. All
This is all one thing.
right,
We need to start thinking about replacing Dan's truck. Okay,
Dan Struck.
which is the oldest one we've got in 2015.
Okay,
Okay. March is paid off next year. They're saying it's 2 years out right now if you order a truck, at least 2 years off. And Allegiance is saying right now they're not taking orders. So it's just a matter of you have to talk to Allegiance and Charlie orders. You'd have to get some numbers.
I'll say you 100% want to go back to that international.
No, not
Okay.
Refresh me, Allegiance used to be Clark.
Clark,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of, you gotta get the 3 bids. You know, it's hard with Clark's and J and B being the same person now.
Yep.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of.
Freightliners and Western Stars.
So Western Star and Freightliner, I think are both Charlie boys and or. Western Star might also be what was J and B.
What's the one down on Shelburne Road? Way down. That's Kenworth, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's, for some reason I was.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next one.
We're gonna do the work. They have driving heavy equipment over it.
Mine is paid off in 2025. Not that we need to think about mine, but if it's gonna be 2 years out. Yeah, so.
So if we get ahead of the ball, we're not
Right.
scrounging.
Right,
Um,
and the thing is, you almost hate to drop a payment off the books right now. Like if you keep that payment, so it's the same 2 car
Mhm.
payments, just bank for one for the down payment.
Yep.
Even if it's 2 years, I mean, you take $50,000 off the top of the truck, at least that's.
Right.
something.
I don't see any problem with getting quotes and getting numbers.
See if they're getting them yet. I
Yeah,
know-
to see,
I know that the guy down at Clark's that we usually deal with is not Rusty anymore, but the one we've been dealing with, last truck, he's not taking requests, and I believe it's gonna be like any equipment, they're not gonna give you a price. Or not, at least not a firm price if they're gonna be 2 years out.
right.
So can I ask, what's the condition of the actual physical truck we're talking about? How many miles are on it? Is it like rotten out? Or what are we looking at?
Getting rusty, like plow trucks do.
Yeah.
And like last week, we put in 2 air valves, which was, I don't know, $500. We did the work,
Mhm.
took it over to Valancourt to get a brake scan done, got another air valve, so I mean, it's just.
Starting to nickel dime us.
It goes the same route mine did when it was 12 years old or whatever it was, we cost the whole payment 1 year for the repair.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't think this is quite that far, but
If you got 2 more years ahead,
you're talking 10 years old by the time.
The truck shows up.
This time.
Okay.
I don't see any problem with getting our name on the list. If they're saying they're not taking orders right now,
Right.
at least if we get our name on the list for a couple places, at least then we're we're ahead of the
Yeah,
game.
sure, trucking boards and any place, we do the same as what Clark is saying. If you order a truck from us and you end up not taking it, it's not a big deal. We'll just go down the next person down the line because make family get.
Yeah,
And
And-
get your 3 quotes and.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Put
Yeah,
it in sight on internet. You're down there.
And then,
we budgeted for it.
yeah,
Okay,
We,
so
we put it in the budget for,
Did you look into that, man?
I did. I don't have my notes on it.
can you, well,
I didn't know you were gonna talk about that.
is it within the budgeted allotment?
It's consolidated.
Yep.
It's not complicated.
Everybody,
I was gonna say, it would be,
I mean, we already have the landline.
if you can do the,
With the,
what is it?
the phone and internet's running around
The Xfinity?
$110 somewhere. in there.
Oh, Fidium, is that
fiber optic system.
to consolidate it?
Yeah.
Mine isn't that much, but hey,
That's what we're paying.
I have two DSL lines and a landline and I'm paying less than that.
I mean, we're just thinking, you wanna look the weather, so I can help you in the parking lot. And stuff like that.
My thought on that would be if you get the quote on that, Tammy, and it's gonna be within the budgeted allotment for the year. That's what we budgeted it for, so that's. And putting it in the budget is the go ahead to get that set
I
up.
think consolidated for just internet, or is it phone and internet down there?
It'd be
We
fun.
have phone existing, so we'll be phone.
So it'd be phone, yeah,
Yeah.
so it'd be a two bundle.
Probably be about $85 a month.
I
Yeah.
pay
Just off what I get. You got the fast internet.
Yeah, well, as I was just saying, the Lance, I have two DSL lines and a landline and I'm paying less than Lance. Lance needs to make a phone call. Find out what's going on.
Dan is coming off the insurance as of 4/1.
4/1
In
April.
other words, April.
Is that,
April 1st.
is that an enrollment date? Is that a,
No, it's his birth date month,
okay,
okay, so
so he's going on to the,
Medicare. system,
yep, yep,
Because limited number of employees in the town, you gotta get off.
okay,
Oh, really?
It was, he could tell you better, there was a number, and it was fairly high. So like teachers-
70.
Yeah, teachers and stuff won't have a problem with it, but with three. Which I don't think he really cares, but, because he's gonna save what he was putting on
Right,
insurance.
right, but I didn't know they could do that.
They told him had to get on.
Hmm.
I thought maybe, something for a writer, but apparently you can't do that. You have to tell you what you want. Now, the other question was, does he get a stipend?
is he gonna finish out the year?
Well, what he suggested was $200 a month. And you know what I mean? So like for April, he would get $100 in May, and if he gets done in May, then he's got the 2 out instead of 3.
Right,
And it's supposed to be 6 in January, 6 in June or whatever. Because he is coming off.
Don't we already offer a stipend?
$600 or $1,200 for the year, right?
Right. Well, we just wondering, because he wasn't on, he was on the insurance for the first 3 months, now that he's off it.
What happens?
Yeah, would he be good for the second half of the first?
So if he works till snow flies in October or something, would he get that last $100 a month?
I think what he's saying though is because he's only a quarter in on it,
Right,
right? And there's 3 more months to the first payout.
right.
Can he have 100 a month? Just go 100 a month because that's what equates to.
Somehow,
Well, if it's $1,200 a year.
So it's 100
months, what Danny's saying.
Right.
Yeah.
$100 a month basically. is what
but I
it is.
thought you said
He's 3 months in.
And
So total,
stay the
And then
rest of
he'll-
the year on.
Well, and my thought would be when he says, I'm done,
right,
April, whenever he's done, cut a check for that amount at $100 a month.
I think what we need to do is have something for Medicare that says they picked him up, right? Some kind of documentation that says he's now under Medicare.
sign the paper for Blue Cross and Cancer.
Yeah, and then what should happen is the very next month, because we pay ahead of time, right? So if we pay the April bill and he comes off April, then he would start in May.
Right.
You know, we need that notice, and Vera would be the best resource to have that conversation. But I think if we haven't paid for him for that month, I think then it would be $100 a month, because it's $1,200 a year.
What I'm saying is-
On the warrant.
Yep.
She took out on the oddball paycheck, she took out insurance for Mark and him. Which was $100, whatever it is.
I think it's so.
Right. She's reimbursing them because that was for April. Okay, so you're not having it in April, so. You know what I'm going with? So that's, if you're looking at that 95, that was a
So
reimbursement.
he'll really get paid for April through that reimbursement. And then we'd start giving him the $100 May.
Yeah.
Getting old, Dan.
And then Mac, I was mentioning to Mac about conversation that kind of went around with town meeting day. Some folks were talking and they had asked, now that we have the second. The second grader, will that enable, and a newer / more powerful grader, will that enable them to grade in times that they couldn't before due to road condition, frozen or hard?
Well, no, you can't grade a frozen road, because all that does is scrapes the top off, and it's not gonna pack in because everything's frozen. And you can't really grade slop, because you're just gonna make more slop. So, but it's not necessarily the equipment. It's it's Mother Nature. There are certain times a year you can grade in certain conditions that you can and cannot grade in, and it wouldn't matter what you have.
And I was
You were laying down brand new roads that were,
But as I said to John, we also still do have the 2 graders, so I mean, when we get the dry weather and things start. You can put a bulk out there for.
Yep.
If not a whole day, Mark can get the grader all day, actually.
Yeah. Well, as I was, I explained that to a degree, maybe not in those exact terms, but they were under the impression that they were informed that we couldn't grade because of the condition of our grader, the age and all, couldn't go through a harder or a.
only when it was soaked
soft
down
work. Okay,
was the condition of the old grader the issue.
okay.
And the other issue was, it could break down at any time,
Right.
but if we're using it as a limited source right now.
Yeah.
Any idea on that note, any idea about the new wing for the new grader?
I'm still going with that $30,000 quote they gave us.
You've got no response from anybody.
The problem is we have to fund it and we have to put that request in ARPA to get the funding, and we have to do that soon because we need to start moving forward with ARPA. So we need a good idea, you know, they need, we want to order it, give us a number so we can order it. Yeah, we need that and any other numbers to get that ARPA proposal done so we can get it turned in.
I'm not sure. 3 numbers on that, I'm not sure if you could do it because of the John Deere grader. I don't know if Caterpillar or anybody like that would work on that.
No, you're pretty much gonna be limited to John Deere, because I mean, unless you go with an off-brand,
Right.
that,
Most of them use a Craig Link. So I mean,
but it's gonna be the mounting hardware is all gonna have to be John Deere, because that's what you got, so. Yep.
make sure it was.
Okay, yeah.
Anything else?
Not from me,
Yes, we don't.
have you started hauling in any stones? Not yet. Have you reached out to Borbo to see if they're willing to?
Borbo, Dan talked to somebody that works for Dirt Tech and he said they're taking every bit of stone they got right now, so we're probably gonna go to, probably for starters, we talked to Lee, but I also heard Borbo, not Borbo, but Dirt Tech was shutting down for a while.
Okay.
Road conditions.
I heard through the grapevine that Fairfield was getting stone from Borbo.
Yeah,
So it might be worth, instead of taking the word of a third party, call down there. Because I mean, if we can stockpile 20 loads here, that's gonna put us way ahead of the game come mud season. Any others?
What's your thought on that barn over there on Waterville Mountain? I had a call on that.
thoughts on it?
I say it's getting darn close to coming in to the road.
That's,
It was one the other day.
so do we send another letter to the landowner?
Probably have to. It's in the. This is the barn.
I think we're gonna have to give them a
So,
time
yes.
frame.
It's in the town right away, so.
If it's in the list. we'll do it anyway.
What's the time frame on it?
I don't-
3 years, 4 years, not like that.
Right, no, what we're saying is,
Did give a time frame on it before.
The state, where this gets really lengthy, might be a cost to us to do that. If they volunteer to do it, that's a different story. If somebody hits it going through with a plow, and knocks it down. You know, worst case scenario, it's a place where it could be a hazard, but it hasn't moved an inch. I've got pictures from 2 years ago. Hasn't moved. And it goes- and there's, while it is in a right of way. They didn't seem too concerned last time we did this whole letter thing. No response.
The owners gave no response.
He came to the shop one day and wanted to know if we would be willing to push it over so he could burn it there. And it's like, you're gonna do it with a loader, or you're gonna be talking nails. And fire department said can't be burned because of proximity to. There's a transformer right behind the
yeah. Yeah, I think that would be zoning, but I think we get the letter out and request either presence at a meeting
Mhm.
or give a deadline, you know,
April 1st, okay.
for the deadline to have it moved.
Getting back to us.
Getting back to us, yes, well, that may be a little short.
Well, they've had 2-3 years to fix this problem. I mean, how long can we?
Yeah, but
There's this down the road.
yeah, but we done our due diligence to follow up.
The property-
That's a good question, but. It did.
Right.
The previous owner, we were gonna fine.
Maybe we should move back down that, send a letter saying that if it isn't taken care of, you're gonna receive a monthly fine or a quarterly fine until it is.
I would say mid-April. I think 30 days is pretty standard in the,
First meeting in April, and then they wanted to come in.
yeah,
We're asking-
ask for their presence in the first meeting in April. And if not, then a plan to remove structure by the 15th, some sort of response by the 15th, or
That'd be nice.
we're gonna have to take it to the next level. Right, that gives us, well, depending on when the letter goes out, that would be 30 days if it can go out before the end of the week.
I did get a response from Kim yesterday. then.
So that's April 10th. Yep.
I get a response
Yes,
from
I
Kim.
did.
She,
I saw it.
oh, you did see it? Okay. She. I had asked Tyler to respond to the FEMA's last request of goodies.
Mhm.
Tyler responded to her, and then we never saw anything. And so finally I asked her Monday, and she said, oh yeah, I sent it to you.
Right.
She sends me the information. She doesn't forward it to Lance, and she doesn't do it to Tyler. Now Tyler's the one with all the engineering stuff on this, and. And then when she responded to Tyler, I hope, and nothing.
That makes it fun, right?
It really does.
Any others on roads?
Just a quick question. Who did the cold patches on 108 in Boston Post? It was the state? Okay. Cool beans. Thank you.
They were all over the place the other day.
Oh, yeah, they get.
Warm days to get stuff in.
That's that corner right there and heading up toward the sugar house, that whole center is down about 6-8 inches, about that deep. Falling right apart where they put it together. I mean, they're still underneath it, but.
Yeah.
Mm.
It'll just keep pounding out. All right, any others? Thank you, Mac. I do not have a treasurer position update. We still have the single applicant at this point.
Did we get the references? Did we request and or receive the references from that?
I thought we had asked Tammy,
Tammy.
did you send a request for references on?
Things collapsed, my mom's not the guy.
Okay. Tammy, can you reach out on that on behalf of the select board?
This isn't right, is it?
No, I would say not. I wonder if that's supposed to be, see if that comes out if it's 25. No, that wouldn't work either.
You Mike,
Did they do, oh wait, maybe they did 8.
yeah. Can you give her that mic? Thank you, Todd. She refuses to use it, just always.
Josh,
Yeah.
you talked to Vera. She had a little bit of an update as to what she was willing to do.
Yes. Vera is. I'm not sure. What Vera would like to do is hire somebody for that position and have them work as an assistant until they're trained and understand what the position is going to entail. So that it's not as, yeah, Vera is wondering or was kind of curious if we could hire somebody for that position and have them work as the assistant treasurer to get trained, see all of the busy season, tax season, make sure that they're going to stick with it and it's going to be a good fit before we hire somebody, have her train them. They work 3 months, get done, or 6 months, and then we're back to square one. So she'd like to have them work under her for a period of time before we make a complete hiring of the treasurer position.
If I may,
That I think that's a good way to approach it.
yeah,
I agree.
seeing how what Vera keeps coming up against over the last couple of folks, it's important that we actually get somebody who understands the way to do it. And let's get realistic, not everyone has the experience and they're going to need to learn it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get someone who wants to come in and who has all this world experience in this. So we're going to have to take the time and bring someone into the fold.
My only concern about that is the caliber of candidates that you will get if it's advertised as a assistant treasurer position or treasurer.
Could you advertise it as a full-time, but it's dependent on how they do as that assistant role. Kind of a probationary period.
Well, even the
Call it that.
treasurer's position isn't full-time though.
Right.
I mean.
None of it's full time.
None of it's
Right.
full-time.
But like he says, it could be their probationary
Like a
period. too.
probationary,
Right.
right? So
Right.
it didn't work out in the first 6 months.
Right.
And it
It's
doesn't
gonna
work out.
be the same position, but in your first so many months, you're actually in probation period.
Right. So the only problem with that I can see, and not about from what you said, but from this standpoint right here,
If I
is we haven't budgeted for an assistant treasurer's position.
We can't afford to go through this again either.
No, absolutely not. I'm just, when Vera came on this time, she was very clear that if she was going to do the job, she was going to receive the treasurer's pay, which we all agreed to, no questions asked. So what we would need to do is we would need to figure out a way that we are going to pay said person.
It's gonna cost us one way or the other.
It is.
If we go through this again and we lose another treasurer, it's gonna cost us dearly. And it's gonna cost us extra money to train one properly.
Or if you
Absolutely.
get someone in there who doesn't know what they're doing, you're gonna run into the same problem we ran into in the past. as well.
Right, right. Depending on what level of.
Fine, let's go on the positive end.
I was gonna say,
Find somebody and in 2 months,
Be ready.
Vera's got her right up
It's
to snuff
possible.
and she is ready.
It's
or
possible.
he is
They-
ready.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just throwing out possible.
It's had a pretty good resume. I mean, it's
Right,
what
so-
we've seen so far, but she did at least.
That's where I say, the problem is that person willing to take a assistant position at a
Lesser amount.
doesn't
lesser
have to be
amount?
as Assistant. We haven't even put an amount.
No, I understand that. Yeah, no,
Of
Expertise was.
expertise was before
Yep.
we put a pay on it anyway.
I say we leave the advertisement as is, and that's something that will be discussed at the interview.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
I just, as Tiffany said, it's what.
It's run
Right.
and it's done. So we'll just let and see what else comes in.
Why don't we rerun it?
I would run it again.
Want to run it?
Absolutely.
Courier and messenger?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we still only get the one candidate?
And if anybody out there
Just the
in
one?
Zoom world wants to be a treasurer,
All of those treasurer constables,
right? Lots of vacant positions.
Or auditor.
Or auditor.
1, 2, or 3.
We have a
Us.
list of those. Perfect. Who? Quick, write their name down.
Oh, gosh, who was that?
Carolyn
Carolyn
Jones is
Francis.
Phil Bronze.
Yeah,
Phil Browns, write him down.
Did he spell the last name?
That's right, they did send an email.
Caroline Z.
Bro-
Phil
Yes,
Bronze.
it is,
Z. It was Phil, I think,
Yep.
Auditor,
auditor.
internal.
So this, I will get there in a second. Okay. I don't want to get. Nope. No, this isn't actually what that is. This is all the people that got write-ins for the auditor's position, but. So treasurer position update. Any others on that? All right. ARPA administrator position.
I go back to that.
Okay,
So on that,
yep,
I think we as a board need to be ready before we interview, deciding on how we're
Absolutely.
gonna handle.
and I have also asked that, because Vera wasn't in the last hiring committee, that she be here and be part of that.
No.
I agree.
So,
It may mean that we have to roll this with Vera, who said she's willing to do it for a little while longer, and God forbid we have to kind of hold her up for almost the whole cycle to add that in on the back end or next year.
that kind of seemed like maybe an idea that she was
Right.
willing to entertain, but it depended on how good the person was that we could hire. If you want to move up here,
Well, I had a. There's a solution that's staring to the face on us. I would suggest that we consider ARPA money for training.
Training
use that money to train said
individual.
individual.
That meets the qualifications.
Yeah,
Perfect.
because we committed it to any project within the general fund, and ARPA are the guidelines for awarding that.
Mhm.
Well, this whole hiring event was started during COVID.
Yep.
Okay.
I'd like to say that kept our candidates down, and people didn't want to travel and didn't want to commit for a new job. So we'll consider that from a budgetary standpoint. And perhaps an inducement or investment.
Very good.
Leading into,
Yeah, on that note, I'd like to let you know that having consulted with Vermont League of Cities and Towns, specifically Katie Buckley, I think I copied you all on that. I didn't have your address. I get a copy of that.
I did get
That
copies.
she said she did not see any reason why we couldn't appoint me to continue to work with ARPA. Between John and me, I think we've got a great knowledge base of how it works, and we also have proposals that are in and being accumulated and evaluated. We've got at least 2 meetings coming up probably in the month of April.
Okay,
One will start to review the requests, and the other one's going to start to look at more requests, especially from the town, because they haven't seen what you guys said.
you hear that, Mac? April. I need the numbers.
But with all due respect, all you guys need to do is make the position ongoing. And, it's obviously going to terminate when the Marnie is gone. So that's a good thing, I guess.
and you said, and John's still working with you.
Yeah.
So John can be our.
Yeah, easy liaison.
I think we need to discuss this
Okay,
further.
What would you like to discuss? Put it out there.
I would like to discuss where we're going with this ARPA, because all we've done so far is paid out to administrative.
Which is
Where are we going with this ARPA fund?
we're having money in the bank. We have at least 6, maybe 7 projects.
yeah, give or take.
That have been requested. We have the town coming up with a ton of expenditures that they want to cover in ARPA.
Mhm.
And pretty straightforward. I'm pretty sure if you want to discuss it, this is a good spot to do it.
Yeah, I think the newest request came from the fire department last meeting,
Yep.
actually, so that was the latest that was at it, and then the footnotes have their request for the historical society,
Historical library.
right?
And I think the question comes up quite often is, when are you gonna start dispersing those funds? That's what I keep hearing from people, is that we've been this long and nothing's been dispersed. And I think we're paying you, which I understand that we have to pay somebody to administer it.
The other thing was that
Eight
we had
hours.
people sit here and say,
It's 6.
we heard you already spent it all. So, within the context of one thing or the other, so. I mean, the fall had, everybody had already spent. So that didn't happen. When do you want it to be? You want it tomorrow? You can start doing it tomorrow. Do it April 1st.
I would like to see something.
I would like to see it sooner.
Nothing.
than
We've
later.
seen
Yeah.
nothing.
Well, I like to say that initially what the thought process behind it was, and I understand where Brenda had started it, we would get a plethora, a mountain of requests, and it didn't pan out to that level that we thought, and like we were talking about a citizens type board to review it before it come to the select board, but to Brenda's point, we only have 6 or 7. We really don't need to delay at that point. We can just present all the ones, you pick a date, April 5th, April 10th, or a special meeting, or while we want to get some other things done, so maybe a special date in May. And say, here we go, it'll come to the select board for approval. And yay or nay, and disperse the funds, because the funds are there, we just have to write a check.
Honestly, that's all it's ever really been holding up, is when we wanted to say, we have say, and it's.
I know we have
It's just
say.
when we wanted.
We've seen nothing from it,
Right,
but we do keep seeing bills for,
Well, administration
Whatever.
costs are good. Pay to have somebody oversee this. My ass is on the line with the IRS. With all due respect, I don't want to have any clawback for the town.
Right.
And one of the things about delaying it is that the final rule is the final rule is the final.
Right.
Rule.
until they make a new final rule.
We've seen 4 different versions of it.
But the reality is behind it, and I think I said this at the meeting, the final rule, they have to be able to grandfather. If they change the final rule in 6 months and we've already spent the funds, much like a lot of people already have done.
Right.
You can't turn to us and go, well, you didn't do it right. We followed the procedure at that time.
Yes.
The funds have been dispersed.
So to both points, if you said you have multiple meetings in April coming up. So if-
At least 2 and
So if we said that we would like the proposed ARPA
Well-
projects for the first meeting in May,
you have to make a motion to even keep her, because it's actually not. That position is supposed to be from the select board, so you'd have to make a
That's
motion. to
not
keep her
correct.
Position,
not correct.
because that's how we voted on it.
Nobody wanted to do it. That's what I'm saying. You want to do it? We can.
I already told you once I would.
We can have you sign it over to the IRS. Gotta get the Treasury Department though.
That's fine.
Here's a report we could need this month.
So is there a motion?
what is the motion?
I would like to see someone on the select board do it. I think it's more appropriate. That's just my opinion.
Are you making a motion to appoint Terry, ARPA
I
administrator
would not do that only because of
the relations? Yep,
create a
yep.
sense of favoritism. So I would leave it up to the other.
I'm involved in the FEMA and Brigham projects. I'm not taking on another project.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
ARPA administrator position.
I'm a town employee. Already, the zone.
If you guys are okay, I'll nominate her, but I don't want to do it if you feel that that's being biased in any way.
You can absolutely make a motion. It's got to go through, so.
Yeah, well, I think we need to cover that issue first. I don't think,
Or we need to
with being a
discuss.
small town,
Right.
we're gonna have people that are related. And there's not a darn thing we can do about it. So as long as you can remain removed from the fact that you're related to Terry.
Yep.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
We can't keep running into this wall every time we have a decision. And one of you says, well, I can't, well, Todd's doing this, I can't say anything about that, or Terry's doing this. No,
I would say,
That, I just wanted to clear that up, Lance. Thank you.
I would say.
That nomination for Terry to take over the ARPA coordinator position. Yes.
but John had something to say.
I was just gonna say, you know, not that I don't think Terry couldn't do it, but if it's going to be a select board person, I've gone to all the trainings. I've done all the stuff with Brenda. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I've gone, you're gonna have to go through all that.
Let's do it. I'm
Right.
saying, I think it needs to be a board member.
Okay,
So
so I think to
let me
Todd,
just think out loud for a second. So if we were to appoint John to this position.
Yep.
And Brenda is to be his counterpart as a
No, I would be okay
sort of
with that.
civilian. That doesn't really change any of the people that
Hierarchy.
have been in charge of the overall layout and organization of this. It just makes it so that the head is on the board.
Right.
And I think that's,
John interested in doing that, I'll take back my motion.
I mean, I'm already doing it, so it's not a problem. It's just like us flipping,
We-
you know,
we-
we're here.
I'm very,
Right.
part of this, and we both covered each other for training
Right,
as
so,
well, so what he knows, I know what I don't use.
yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know the town stuff.
yeah, well, we'll get into it, I promise.
You need a motion, did you find if that's the case, if he's already there?
That's from Katie, by the way.
I think that we should probably put a motion in to put the select board, if that's what if you guys want,
I will rescind my motion.
but you can change it, you can amend it.
I'm gonna amend it to John being the ARPA administrator.
so it needs to, oh, it is on here. It's warned.
Yep.
So we're
We need a
completely within our,
Yeah, no, we did this.
this is straight up. Yeah, I just making sure from.
So I have
From
the
this
motion,
position.
I have the motion. out
We have
there.
a
It just needs to
motion.
be
Is there a second for John to be ARPA administrator as a select board member?
I'll second it.
Terry, second. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of John taking over the position of ARPA administrator signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Any
abstain.
opposed?
I abstain.
You can abstain. That's,
Yeah.
you can vote for yourself too.
It doesn't matter either way. Aye, I don't worry.
There, is that a,
Aye,
okay.
Are we still giving a deadline?
Yes, I think we still have the deadline of May the 1st.
do we want to do this, because you're gonna have 6 or 7 folks, do we really want this at I know it adds a meeting, but at a select board meeting, or do we want to make a special meeting for the review?
I was saying May the 1st isn't a select board meeting.
We're saying that to have the final meeting on May the 1st.
Would it be May first?
What day of the week is May the 1st?
Well, I would say that all of the
Paperwork.
May the first is a Monday.
it is a Monday.
Yes.
So if all of the proposals collected and ready for submission to the select board on May the 8th.
It's a Saturday.
May the 8th.
Or no, May.
What I'm saying is review of the select board, because we could wind up with a lot of people here and make the select board meeting very drawn out. Do we want to look at a separate date? I think we
I think we
should.
could. Honestly,
should.
I think if you have them ready for us on May the 8th.
Yeah.
And give a quick overview
Mhm.
with them, no decisions being made that day.
Right,
Set a separate date on that day for a specialized ARPA meeting.
okay,
That'll give us,
Yes.
you can get them to us, we can look over them, we can have time to think, look.
right,
Date to be determined on May.
Date to be determined on May 8th.
okay, perfect.
Yep.
Does all the money need to be spoken for and spent at that point in time, and you still have till 2020?
No, we can, just like we have with this equipment here, if we don't deem that all of the money needs to be spent at that point, we can send out monies that,
Period.
yeah, 2026, I believe. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to remember the
2026. Through the end of 25, or was the 2026 inclusive?
Things that have to change.
Okay, yeah.
Idea is to start-
Dates and
yeah,
At this point, it's, not really important.
So,
But the idea is start spending it because if you don't, I know how the government works on grants.
Yeah.
We'll pull back if you're not using it. So I say use it.
Well, that's exactly.
Yeah.
all right,
All righty,
that all sound good, John?
sounds perfect.
Okay, great. Carrie? Good, okay.
Got a question, could we jump ahead to Alex? Alex and I talked about grants and you remember that we had that,
Yep, grant writing proposal update.
yeah, I think he was back in Vermont, but he wasn't in hospital.
Okay.
Alex, are you available to talk? Maybe.
Maybe not.
Muted.
Just
isn't
to
it?
give Todd a quick background. Alex submitted a resume cover letter to the town. Per Brenda's request for a grant writing position. Not just for us, but fire department, library, town crew, all of it.
Building in.
That's a
Building
much
maintenance.
needed position.
Yep. So we were just trying to figure out funding for that position, much as we have with some others.
Give us a.
He gave us a, he did, I believe it was 50.
Talked and modified it a little bit.
Okay,
Now, some of the grants you can encumber that cost. in.
Sorry, I was putting my kid to bed, but I can talk.
All right, I've got his email today, and what I had proposed was that we chunk it up into 10-hour chunks. At $500 a chunk. And Alex came back that he needed at least 20 hours to get it started. And one of the grants, I just want to do a cost benefit ratio here. One of the grants has a potential to pay for furnaces there of about $15,000. That would be a great return on our investment, and then it's something that we do need to get going, but there's other projects that are out there, and there's other money that we can look for. In addition,
Was that a matching grant?
it wasn't a matching grant, it was a grant that is just written out, so it's a full grant for building maintenance is
Best kind.
basically what it came under, but that will take some more.
Is that just to stick on that grant just for a second, because you mentioned it, is that just for municipality buildings, or could that be for other structures like the Historical Society for continuing?
It's all government.
Oh, so we got this building and the library,
Yeah, exactly. So there would be, I believe,
possibly the garage.
but again, it requires somebody to scrutinize what it's there for, what it's good for, and what we can apply for.
And remind me, we're funding this out of ARPA funds at this time?
The current way to do it, once it gets up and running, I think we can certainly see the cost benefit of the work that gets done.
We're paying these blocks up front, Alex?
I'm having trouble hearing you all. I'm sorry. I definitely can't hear Brenda.
Brenda needs to move the mic down towards her a little bit.
All right, that's better. Is that-
Yeah. Yes.
So Alex, these blocks that you're selling, 10-hour blocks, which I understand, or is that paid up front? Like we put a,
No, the way that I originally wrote the contract was, up to a certain amount of time. It would be for any work done. It wouldn't be like charging you for 10 hours and then doing it. It would be on, let's say a grant proposal will take 8 hours. I would bill you for 8, not 10.
all right, and you're good with the net 15? That would on the payment?
Unit 15.
Net
do you mean?
15. So you're not gonna be, so if you bill me on the first of the month, you're not gonna be paid until we have a select board meeting to sign off on your payment. which is,
I'm still having trouble hearing you. I'm so sorry.
that's okay. Is that better?
A little bit. Yeah.
And I may be too close. If it's muffled, I'm too close. If it's, so. what
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
saying-
sit back a little bit.
try to- Is this better?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Too close. So what we're saying is the payment structure is net 15. So you ask for the hours and you understand that the select board would have to sign off on the hours. So you wouldn't be, the payments would happen on the second or the fourth Monday of the night we'd approve it, you'd be paid post that.
That sounds reasonable to me, yes.
Okay.
Have you looked into this particular grant that Brenda has brought forward, the building grant?
I couldn't hear what she was talking about. Brenda, was that one that I sent you, or was that a different one?
No, that was a different one. I think it came through VLCT. Also, the Northwest Regional Planning has
Okay,
highlighted some of those. I can turn those over once we decide what we're gonna do.
Personal opinion here. I think we know we need the furnaces for this building replaced. Like a lot of things, we want to see what we're getting. So I think if we can get him to run with this grant, do the application to get the furnaces replaced in this building, maybe do a quick overview of maybe the town garage, maybe the library to see how theirs are. And I'd ask you, Alex, to get with Brenda and see, give us a rough estimate of, it's gonna take me 10 hours, 20 hours to complete this grant and submit it. Get that back to us before our next meeting and do a trial run with this and see how it goes. Kind of.
sure. I would still appreciate a signed contract, some sort of statement in writing. I don't want to just jump in and, do all that without having something signed that I'm gonna get paid, right? So, and then the other thing I think I heard Brenda saying, my father is actually in the ICU right now back in Cleveland, so there is a chance, that I might have to get on an airplane and go. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully he's on the road to recovery, but I just caveat there that the next couple of weeks are a little up in the air for me, but I will certainly do what I can, and talk with Brenda about getting going with this stuff.
Yeah, yes, I completely agree on not starting anything without a contract. That's makes perfect sense. I would just making the statement that it would be on a trial basis, see how this goes. Make sure it's what you want to do, make sure we're satisfied with what happened or how it goes. Completely understanding that, it's a grant and it's not guaranteed, but still on a trial basis, more so than signing a year-long contract at this point.
Sure. Yeah. And if we want to try a couple months or something, that would be fine with me. A month initially and then move from there.
And then Brenda, with regards to the library, we want to make sure that we grab the stuff that they're requesting through the ARPA.
Yep.
And see if we can't get that in the grant and kind of claw back that into the ARPA fund versus, and I assume, and in the grant writing side of it, I'm not sure, Alex, but I assume that if we had to repair something at the library while the grant was in progress, it wouldn't negate us from receiving said grant and refunding or moving those funds back into where we took them from.
It would really depend on the rules of the funder. I would have to look at the fine print of the funding opportunity, but in many cases, if you were to get additional funding to repair something, and you had it in your budget already, and you're using town funds, you can, move that to another line item, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that, it's not unheard of that would happen, but it's probably in the fine print somewhere.
Absolutely. All right, thank you. That's all I have.
So I think the next step would be for Alex to get us a revised contract.
Yep.
From the one he sent. And we'll look that over and hopefully get started. So he'll get with you on,
Check the time sensitivity of this grant, but I want to say it was the end of April.
okay,
It had to be in by, so. I'll make sure we give them enough
so
time.
sooner than later for the contract so that we're all covered there.
And
Perfect.
you want me to send that to Brenda still?
We can coordinate with that because you
Okay.
left me notes, but I want to put it in contract form for the board.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, and that would need to be sent to the town select board email. Yep.
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 Perfect. All right. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I know Stu and those guys are here to talk about the Lister site. Can we move them?
Yep, we can.
And Brandon, before you go, I just had one question. On the zoning board side, I know it's not on here, but on the zoning board side, are we going to have normal hours again, or is it just going to continue on by appointment?
It's ramping up. It's going to be busy again, and there should be 4 to 6 hours a week that are posted up for people.
Thank you.
But people that are really good about making appointments and calling me. So
Yeah.
hasn't worked to my detriment or getting things out the door.
Okay.
And Brenda, one other thing on zoning, just make sure you're copying the fire department on the access, the new roads and stuff so
Yeah,
that they can, because I'm seeing some that are built that we can't get our apparatus.
With
into.
you, Matt,
Yeah.
with regard to the planning commission and
Yeah.
how we need to develop the new zoning bylaws. to-
I'll give you it right out of NFPA
Well,
one.
especially for insurance.
Yep.
We talked about that way back.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda.
Thank you.
So the listers.
Yes.
That's all that is. And it says for what's his name, that's why I wondered if he's still.
All right, so the listers will take you guys now.
There it is.
Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you?
Stu, we can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me? Can you hear me, Sue?
Yes.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. You should have a copy of a letter that we would like you to approve regarding an RFP to go out to the vendors that provide reappraisal services. And we wrote this with the help of Deanna Robitaille, the district advisor from the Department of Taxes. And she reviewed it and she thinks it's okay. And we just wanted your input because we need your approval to send this out.
I did see it come through, Sue. I don't know if I didn't print it out, so I'm really in a bind. I apologize. I should have printed that out.
Well, I hate to see, we printed them out and put them in, I believe, the select board
Sending folder.
little plastic thing, yeah. And I also sent it to Lance and asked him to forward it to you via email because I don't have all of your email addresses. So
Yeah,
I hope
I
by
did forward
doing
it.
double duty, maybe you would get it, but it sounds like it didn't happen.
No, it did happen. Lance forwarded it to us. I did read it. I just didn't print it out because I assumed it would be here, but
Should,
I have all my folders right here and I don't have it in any of them.
you will in a second, I think.
Wait
Tammy.
a second, Tammy just took off.
Yeah.
I'll blame it on Tammy. She didn't put it in the right folder.
There you go.
Lance
I don't
on
know.
Bakersfield.
Did I do
But I read through that. I didn't see. Everything looked good to me on that part.
Yeah, when I looked through the RFP, I thought it looked fine.
it? I just got 'em.
No.
Grant stuff like that. Yeah, it must have been misplaced, but I did read the RFP. I thought it was written well. I didn't have any problems with it. That's it there, Josh.
This is it?
That's it. Town of Bakersfield. It's got the picture of the town of Bakersfield on the front. Josh has it, he just didn't realize it.
I had it the whole time. Had a cover letter on it this time.
Thank you, sir.
Like I said, I've read through this and I didn't see anything. I thought it was very well written and it was concise to the point and exactly what we needed. And you said you've already conferred with the state and they read through it too also?
Yes, the person who's our district advisor looked at it.
Yep.
And that was her approval.
Perfect.
So if I remember correctly, you were doing this in 2026, if I remember what I was reading. When are we requesting the proposals back by?
We usually give them, I think, 30 days, but because there's so many towns that need reappraisals, we're probably not going to get on that list for, a few years. So that was her advice, is to go with 2026, and we're going to mail out maybe 5 to 10 vendors and see what the response is.
And then I know I asked this of the select board when I first started, are you guys going to use a sam.gov or some kind of RFP site, or are we sending them to individual companies that we know will support us instead of putting it out to the world?
No, we're just going to mail it to some of the approved vendors that the state has approved.
Right, her name escapes me right now, but when
Deanna?
when she came, she said that she had a list of vendors that she would give you and that she would approve or not approve, but recommend from that list.
Yes, we have that list.
Yeah, perfect. I don't see any issues with it. Again, the dates would be filled in
Yes,
by you before it's mailed out.
yeah, absolutely.
Do we need a motion for that or is that good to go?
We can, I'll do a motion if you want to accept the RFP as presented with the caveat that they'll fill in the dates and times.
Okay.
And I'll second it.
Motion's been made by John to accept, seconded by Todd. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There you go.
Do you send Pat, welcome Pat. Do you want to discuss that other portion that Sharon and you folks were talking to me about with regards to funding? That article?
You mean that I sent, that I did send that to you. I don't know if you saw it in the email or not.
I did.
Yeah.
Did-
I don't really, I mean, it's just general information and it's pretty up in the air right now. But I will say it because I thought it was interesting. In the article, they were talking about the state taking over the whole appraisal job, because right now it sounds like 2/3 of the state need to be reappraised and the property, and they do not have enough people to do it. And the feeling was, well, if they were going to ever switch over, this might be the time to do it. And one of the things that came up was the money that has been sent to all the different towns to help with the paying for the updating, the reappraisal of the grand list. And the question was raised, what do we do about that money that we sent them, which would be us since 2009? They have been sending us money that was supposed to be set aside for when we had to do another reappraisal to help with the cost. And one of the things that we're aware of is that it has been used to pay your listers. And so if the state were to come back and say to you, well, Bakersfield, we gave you, and I think it might be about $70,000 because I did some math on it. We gave you this money. Now you need to give it to us, give it back to us, since you're not going to have to pay for your reappraisal. I don't know where that's going to go, but it has been discussed.
The bridge will cross when we get there.
Yeah, I mean, we budgeted it out for several years. We're just giving payments over time, right? To do
Yeah,
it.
really. Maybe the same amount of payments that Linda Hall pays.
Well, we're giving Freedom Academy to in exchange for the money.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't take it. They won't want Brigham Academy.
Thanks, Donnie.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Chairman and Pat. Have a good evening.
All right. Town appointed positions. We got a couple.
Yep. People in the audience.
I see our new dog.
Cheering. You know, that was- she-
Lock them. All right. The first constable, second constable, delinquent taxes was done. Grant was done, town agent. Can't remember if that one was filled or not.
I was gonna say, it wasn't, I thought.
No,
it's up.
that was Granger. Yeah, Granger was Larry Krieger. I don't have my books with me.
I do.
I wrote it all down.
Hang on a minute. Let me look at Facebook, because honestly, it was out there.
Select board,
Yeah.
Select board got that one.
town agent is the select board.
Hang on a
Excellent.
second.
Groups,
The
cemetery, library, and public, trustee of public funds. And
cemetery was Harmon Mayo. Library was Jennifer Sanchez. Trustee Public Funds was Pat Evans.
Yep, got it.
Brigham Academy was Cheryl Irwin DeRue or DeRue Irwin. I can't ever remember which way it goes.
So the only, I'm just trying to figure out which ones we need to fill at this point.
I think it was first constable, second constable.
And two of the three auditor positions, correct?
Yes.
Because we haven't even.
Did we contact Pat into taking the 3-year term?
That's.
Oh, no, he was listed. Yep,
He's
he
a
was
lister.
listed.
They're still on.
So we don't have any auditors.
Yeah. There's one. We have a volunteer.
For 1 year of a 3-year term, correct?
I don't know which one they volunteered for.
It was the one of the three.
Ron's right.
No.
Yeah, the auditor 1 year for a 3-year term.
Well, Susan, moved, yeah.
It's a shame Brenda left, because I was gonna ask about Mrs. Sanchez. She wanted to get involved, and she was putting stuff on Facebook that she really wanted to get involved. Maybe we can see if she wants to take the third auditor spot.
Did you say we wouldn't get the?
We might not, yeah, one of the 3-year term.
Okay.
We might not have a third one if Jason is appointed.
We want to need a third.
Yeah, it
one
might be
different.
nice to have somebody that's done it.
Now, Tammy, would you reach out to Philip Bonds and see if he would take the auditor 3-year term?
Who did she send that message to, Lance?
It was on. which one?
She sent it to me and I forwarded it.
Okay, that's where I saw it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do now have your email address.
Jason,
We would reach out to him and see if he would be willing to. I wouldn't say he'd be in there he'd be in there for the 2 years of the 3-year term. Exactly. That's why I'm not, we would ask him if he would be willing to help our 2 new folks.
right, I forget who, Tammy, we did this a couple months ago, this exercise. We contacted him and there was someone else. Jason
Susan
and
Moulton.
Sue,
Yeah,
right.
She got elected in.
So.
Okay, so we just need to.
We do have all the names here of all the folks that were put in as write-ins for the auditor position.
It's a lot.
Pat Evans, Larry Krieger, Brenda Foran, Lance Lawyer, Joy Doan received 3 votes. I'm just reading the list. You only got 1 vote, but don't worry.
You're welcome.
What the hell?
Would Joy Doan be worth a reach out?
Yeah, reach out.
She's done it.
She does, she's not interested in doing it again.
Okay.
I tried to get her to,
Ross Allen?
right?
No? I mean,
You can ask her.
I guess, no.
he was.
And Jason agrees with it.
Right, so what we're concerned of is if Jason doesn't agree. Okay, I'm just,
Keep that list.
Yeah, so Jason Bath, we're gonna ask if he's interested in the 2-year of the.
no, he can only take 1 year. He can only be appointed 1 year since he's not a resident.
Appointed 1 year anyway, and then you have to run.
How'd we do on the
Might be able to.
planning commission?
Planning Commission, Nikki and,
Yep, we got both of those, so Nikki and Heather Jewett.
Okay.
yeah, they just were
All right.
filling their positions. Nikki's
So the
finishing.
only other thing we got is first and second constable.
It was, I don't know. I know at one time, I think Rosalie told me that her and her daughter did that for a long time, first constable.
Yes, they did.
Rosalie and her daughter Tamara.
Tira. Tira.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
Your interest. Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wasn't here.
Who said was a second?
yeah.
Second, planning commission, it's Heather Jewett. Hey, Todd, second constable, as I was told last year, that's the new person on the board. I'm not gonna- I'm not gonna hand you my- Well, honestly, last year, it was all of us.
It's whoever's foolish enough. I mean, whoever answers the phone first.
Yeah.
Speaking of constables, we should get some cameras up here.
Make sure we got caller ID.
Church parking lot over here.
Well, that'd be up to the church. Bring that up to the pastor Sunday.
Yeah, it's
I'm
hard
just
for
a-
constables to take the
The
job. too,
cameras
because
for
they're
the
not
church
trained.
parking lot.
Well, that's the thing.
People take it.
Right.
Because of the activities there and
But the
that.
problem is, it's a yearly renewal, a yearly position, and the course is quite expensive.
The only thing we've ever thought about in that, Todd and John, is making that much like the other ones above 3-year terms or
I think
5-year
that's
terms.
what we go.
But we tried to do that, and per the states, the way it's worded in there, you can't do it. Teddy up in Island Pond was a prime example of that.
Yep.
Drove tourism right out of Island Pond, and then they drove him out of Island Pond.
We don't have a town agent either.
That's you.
That's
We voted you in when
very, very, very rarely is anything. Is there anything the town agent
What
has
is-
to do?
what does the town agent do?
Yep,
The town agent does the same job select board does. It's just in.
if the select
It
board is.
represents the town in legal
Oh,
action, okay, for instance.
At that point.
Right, which is what has
Right.
been done in the past. Yep.
I don't think we're really gonna find a constable, and I don't mean to be a negative Nancy here, but I think constable's gonna remain open unless we find someone who, I told you, let me put the lights on my truck and, give me the special red plate that enables me to drive like some of the other folks and legally.
So as far as other appointments, Northwest Communications Union District. The people that have been working to get this broadband thing up
Oh, they
in
changed their
here,
name.
which is Heather Jewett and Brenda.
Yeah,
This was put forth in front of me with their names on it, both being willing to take that position again. As long as everybody here
gonna
is.
find you.
That
Make
with
a
it.
motion, we accept that.
I'll second it.
Heather Jewett and
Brenda.
Brenda.
I'll second Lance's motion.
Adopted at the regular meeting or going. Bakersfield. All those in favor of reappointing Heather Jewett and Brenda Churchill to the Northwest Communication Union District Legislative Body signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Should be 2023. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's just so, it's on the record so they can hear it would be good.
Do you want me to?
How can a regular person, who has an interest in broadband expanding, find out where we're at with that board? Do they report to you at any point, and is that in minutes that I could go back? to?
I can give you this paper. It has their phone numbers on. If you'd like to, you can reach out to Heather. She's usually.
Reported a couple times.
Yeah. She's come to a couple meetings and explained it to us. For example, when we put the wireless system in this building. And I think down to the store, correct?
Mhm.
She came and gave a report, but I think you could reach out to her and she could, if she didn't have an update, she would probably be willing to get you one.
But that position doesn't
require it at all to.
I'm just gonna say, Josh, I think some of those committees like that should be reporting back to the select board with at least an informational update. So that we aren't blindsided and can't give answers to people.
Yeah.
I just think it makes sense.
First one, this is real estate
Right.
and Belvedere and Waterville are kicking our butt.
Right.
As far as internet. Yeah. Really?
Right, so I believe they post their minutes for their meetings. They have a board of their own. And I think it's nwfiberworks.wordcom.net, probably common, I believe. And I know they also, they Zoom the meeting, so I'm assuming that they record them and
gonna go to
upload them
Kathy.
somewhere.
Right. Next one. Did that
Yes. it
does
was.
sufficiently answer your question? Sorry.
Is that good for you, Lenny?
Yes.
Okay.
Posting that information on the town website. People can see it.
I agree, Todd. I mean, and I agree with your point that it'd be nice to have some information disseminated to the rest of us. It's great that they're on the board.
Yeah, if it's all recorded, then
Right.
it should be an easy upload.
Right.
We might have to start adding some columns, some select board,
Yeah.
planning commission, zoning administration.
Yeah.
Kind of streamline it so you can click on.
You actually have it.
And they actually have those reports.
Yeah.
I was watching Swanton's to see what they had.
Right. But we can request that Heather and/or Brenda come and make
They even.
an
do
updated
and
proposal next week.
upcoming Events of the community.
Yeah.
So maybe, should we just request for the next meeting, Josh, that we have one of those two represent the fiberworks and
Yeah, I wouldn't see why that's an issue. I think
give us
the
another
reason we got regular updates because Brenda was here.
Right.
Right.
So she'd just talk about it when they did something new.
and the last. Yeah, can you reach out to them and ask them to join the next meeting? And I know yeah. And I do know that at the conversation with Brenda, they were trying to determine the carriers. So the fiber, they started rolling out the backbone as far as I understand, and they're looking at carriers, but keep in mind, this is Franklin County or the Northwest, so and my other understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is I believe I heard Consolidated is now trying to roll fiber up here as well to compete. So, it'll be great to have not only some real connectivity, but some competition.
Stadium Consolidated rolled out up to Stanley's.
Yeah.
And they rolled out up to Jim Cooper's house on the other side. And they didn't roll anything out to my house.
Well, trust me, it's not at my house either, but I use
I do it based off it.
I use Starlink. Well, I can't even get Comcast. I have Starlink and
Say Lance Lawyer Gory by him.
it's Starlink. Yeah, I was on their beta program originally.
So I
So
signed up for that in November. I haven't got anything yet.
it takes months. The dish will run me, I think, about $600. But it's all up front. Dish is great. Cracks it, and it's heated, so it doesn't get snow covered, melts it.
So next order I have here is a maintenance agreement between Vermont Agency of Transportation and the town of Bakersfield. This agreement made between the state of Vermont Agency of Transportation and the town of Bakersfield Municipal Corporation located in the county of Franklin, the state of Vermont, acting through its select board. Whereas the state, in connection with the transportation project of Bakersfield STP SCRP 11, a completed project that is constructed improvement to the town highway approach at the intersection of Vermont Route 108 and Highway Road number 20, Egypt Road. And whereas the parties agree that upon conclusion of the construction, the maintenance and the repair of the certain portion of Town Highway 20, referred to as Maintenance Agreement Zone area zone, should be under the control of the town pursuant to 19 VSA 310 and the assignment of maintenance and repair of the town in its best public interest.
Turning over Highway 20 to us?
It sounds like they're
Don't try
trying
and take care of the loose gravel at the end of the road. So,
no, Egypt Road.
Road that comes on.
Come on, I said that perfectly clear.
And I'll say, Josh, thank God, because I didn't know Town Road 20.
No, I said down 20 at Egypt Road.
You discovered there was gonna be a problem with the way they did that?
I think we told them that when they were there. No, they want us to sign an agreement saying that we'll take it over once they say it's completed.
Sweeper, Matt?
So what they're gonna do?
So, yeah.
But then you drop down and it's.
Going back up the road, but the
Right.
bigger problem is gonna be where the culvert. the ditch
Yes.
Comes down the side of the Maples and hits that culvert that now goes from the beginning of that driveway 60 feet.
Yes,
And the north
Oh.
surface, or it goes way down to the manhole.
yeah, right,
That's a long.
Yeah.
So can you recap that? Because he's not on mic and what he just said. Lance?
Yeah, it wasn't designed well.
There
The
you go.
state engineers screwed it up. That's what-
There's a long stretch of buried culvert
right.
alongside the road
It plugs up.
that eventually will. And if not already, will plug.
So
Mark cleaned it out last fall.
Okay.
With his little back wall.
And even if it doesn't plug, it comes down there with such velocity that it washes gravel up on the paved apron. Which is the part that they put in, they don't want to take care of.
Well, it actually
It makes it
washes,
difficult to stop because of loose gravel.
it actually washes gravel out into the traveled portion of 108. Right.
exactly.
Really, because
I think we have,
Respectfully decline,
They're just stopping us.
that little
I
apron.
think what they're asking for is that we'll take responsibility for anything that washes off of our town road.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to sign this.
Would say that it's a design flaw.
We need more explanation with it.
it did that before the road was fixed. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it still does it.
You can call Bruce Martin. He was the one I had to deal with when I.
Yeah. I didn't
Right.
see you at any of those meetings.
You're right, you didn't, because I wasn't invited.
That's.
But boy, no, I was not. As a taxpayer of Bakersfield, I was invited as
How
a
big is that?
budding landowner.
It's a small culvert, if I remember right.
You were invited.
No, it was
He did
before I
it?
was on the
Okay.
board. It was after I was,
I thought it was like 12, I think.
yeah, I know, I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
So do we not sign this?
I think
We need more explanation with it.
we need additional either explanation, engineering report or legal advice.
I want to ask them directly if they expect us to take liability
Right.
for a design,
There's
a
some-
design flaw of theirs.
Yep.
They were supposed to design an area, a drainage area that handled all of this. They failed.
Should have been large enough to take the flow.
So
They
Tammy,
Is it
Right.
supposed to come down and go into Grandma Gates's?
yeah,
Is that what it-
the entire project dumps out down there.
Right.
Yeah. Tammy, if you could you extend an invitation to Mr. Bruce Martin, whose information, telephone number is on, it's on that paper right there, the front page. And ask him to attend either in person or via Zoom, our next select board meeting. Getting down there on envelopes. Matt, can I get you to look over this and,
Harding and Mazzotti.
yeah, we'll go over that just this.
Right.
No, this one,
Oh, is that something new?
this is the mileage report. Correct number of class 3, class 2 and state. No, we'll talk about Martin Harding and Mazzotti. All right, we'll talk about that one now. There's not a lot of information here. Other than a claim to the town garage. Harding Mazzotti LLP has retained to represent. I'm not gonna use his name. But an individual for injuries sustained on October 23rd, 2022. The incident happened at East Bakersfield Road and Kings Hill Road in Bakersfield, Vermont, in the city of Bakersfield, Vermont, county of Franklin County, New York. This is not our problem.
Well, I would say, I tried contacting Harding and Mazzotti today. I got in touch with the secretary. The lawyer handling the case is supposed to get back to me. I asked for more information.
Okay.
Okay, to find out what we're dealing with. The next step is to contact the League of Cities and Towns. They are our insurers. So they have our liability insurance.
Good.
They are claiming that there was substance on the road that caused this accident.
But
Which-
that's not in the letter.
That's not in the letter.
Does that say Franklin, New York?
It does say Franklin, New York.
Then I wouldn't accept the letter.
Yeah, that's
I would make them resend.
It does say Bakersfield, Vermont in the previous line.
But it's-
It's all in the documents.
So I would make him correct that. 'cause
That's right.
stand up and-
That's right, Todd. You're right. It's a legal document, and if it's not accurate, we don't have to acknowledge it. They're gonna have to correct it and send it back.
Do we?
I didn't. I'm not gonna discuss that.
So we're talking.
Break that from
East
notes.
East Bakersfield paved roadway? Oh, God.
It's where you transition from here to here.
That would be hearsay, and anything we say at this meeting is on record.
Right.
And I'm not gonna repeat hearsay.
The attorney will contact.
Yep.
But I would definitely bring up the New York.
Yeah, the New York thing makes it invalid.
Hadn't thought of it from that aspect. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, it's invalid. Yes.
This is the weirdest thing. It doesn't even tell you what happened.
That's why I tried calling to find out what the hell was going on, Terry. So,
It says the incident, like we're all supposed to know what the incident is, and then it says send this to your insurance
And snowplow for 5 months.
and do not do anything to get rid of the evidence.
don't tamper with the
Like,
evidence.
Evidence. What happened?
I would ask, they should have a copy of the law enforcement report.
Yeah.
Right.
I would ask for that,
So
so you can get a copy to review.
They have your contact information.
Okay, so I'll wait for-
You.
Scenario.
I move forward that to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, Josh.
I'm review.
I'll ask them to review it and further advice.
Yep. Lance is on that. He's.
Oh, but I just said earlier, I wasn't gonna take on any more project.
That one's easy. You just gotta move to New York.
Yeah, New York, Bakersfield, New York, or California. There's Bakersfield in California.
So, town appointed positions. To this point. We're looking into 2 auditors,
Yeah.
Right.
and the select board will tackle. Constable 1, Constable 2, and town agent. So at this point,
Unless somebody else.
unless we get a volunteer, those positions have been filled. Warrants and reports have been completed. We have reviewed.
Did I just hear Todd say he was possible?
No.
I heard second.
We
That I would share it with the rest of you.
I have reviewed the mail with you all.
Yes.
I haven't signed them yet. I always do it at the end. Brigham Academy update. You got one? You need one?
I have no new information.
Same since town meeting day.
Yes.
Sounds good. Others.
It's one. One quick question is, lately there's some new information coming out about some additional grants coming out for the revitalization of buildings such as Brigham Academy. Is that something that at some point, if what you're looking into doesn't go through, that we may want our grant writer to look at? Where
It
you,
is possible, yeah.
where it could be used for some government space so used. That's what the
wow.
grant seems to be for. It's like you're gonna, I'm gonna use the example, you're moving the library down there.
Thinking about at this point are north of 5 million.
Yeah.
So,
But it is a historical building on the registry of historical buildings, right?
Is it actually on the registry?
It was, yeah.
yes, it is.
So that's
I
what I'm
made that
saying.
very
It's,
clear.
Curtis got it on there.
yeah,
They love.
it's just something, if this doesn't work out, that maybe we could at least look into at some
Yes.
point. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay.
Cool.
And if it does work out, the parties that are presently interested
Yep.
will be accessing those same grants.
Okay.
That's
perfect.
why
Yep.
I personally,
No, I
I'm
like,
in a pause mode.
yeah, no, I agree with that.
Right.
part. Thank you.
Ask him if there's others. Terry, you have another?
Well, just speaking of Brigham, I did go check that service down at Brigham.
Right.
It is on
It is.
Wow.
and the school pays for it.
Is so the outlet needs to be repaired and or.
There's nothing to repair. It's all fine.
Perfect the way it is.
Service on the
Yep.
pole.
Sounds, yeah.
Yeah.
Tammy, don't put that in the notes.
Because
It's already on the recording.
Well,
No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
It's one of those things.
well, because must be the school wanted the service.
No, it was originally put in for the fire department when we were doing field days.
Okay.
CVPS
Yeah.
at the time.
So that's why the school.
And put that in so that we would have power to run the bingo machine
Yeah.
and
Right.
some of the other stuff when we were doing fireman field days. Remember that?
Yeah,
And-
way
and-
back.
And it's been there, and at one point it was used, at one point it was used for the or the skating rink that was
Yep.
down in the front as well.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
The lights.
And I think to Nikki, she was concerned that the outlet itself is compromised. So I don't know, but
Working it.
Why does she think it's compromised? Because it doesn't have the cover on it?
I haven't seen it maybe because it was because of the weather cover on it. Stood last year and we said that something with the plug or the actual outlet is a concern.
Might be an old outlet. There's just not.
That's
It's
just
not.
not, yeah.
Maybe it's been,
Terry looked at it.
maybe it's been, has been
She's
replaced.
an outside
recently.
person in this.
Well, the only thing that's gone is, you know how you have the plastic cover?
Yep.
Right, maybe that's what she's.
Get up.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's
nobody can
missing.
steal power.
So I know you could go plug in, but I mean,
What she's talking about. Just snow.
you know,
Hasn't got hot, hasn't burned out. All right. I would tell Nikki that it's been looked at and it is operable.
I did hit the breaker on it. We did have the breaker on. There's no sense in having it.
That's what I would.
Some kids think of working it.
Yeah.
All right. Any others?
Just the email that Vera sent the detailed emails. She was talking about the signature cards, the 10 different accounts. I know Brenda had expressed
Brenda off and put somebody on.
because she's works for the town as a zoning board administrator. She could technically still be on. But I figure, we still need to discuss it.
I prefer a select board member.
Absolutely.
I,
John's gonna have to be on record.
Right, so.
You just be going along.
so we.
Thanks, Tammy.
You just got volunteered.
Sorry, so simple like that motion.
I would make a motion to put John on as the signator for the accounts.
Thank you, Todd.
I'll second that.
Oh, my God. I see the railroad happening already.
Motion has been made and seconded for John to be added as the second signer in the checkbooks. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
No.
opposed?
No, no.
I think we got back here talking about the dog catcher again last year.
Lance seconded. Yep.
It's,
Did he just volunteer for dog
You say
catcher?
This now.
Was selected had a last year, it's the newest member. I defer to the gentleman.
There's another motion I would entertain. We'll give you a heads up on that one after.
It's very good.
I'd make the motion.
Oh,
I second that motion.
Todd didn't have his mic on. Rookie error.
Go ahead, Todd.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?